Hey guys, welcome to Wednesday at Two Line Slot Cars. Put the apology out. I apologize. I had concert tickets last night. My wife and I went to see Hozier at Blossom Music Center in Cleveland, up near, between Cleveland and Akron. And it was a long night. And we got home super late and came home to find that the dogs had gotten into some medication. It looks like one of our dogs jumped up on the countertop in the kitchen and got our oldest dog's medication. She has some heart issues and ate all of her heart medication. So we've been dealing with trying to keep a dog alive. So anyway, he's fine now. I was able to, middle of the night, I was able to get him to empty his stomach, and I think that he should be good to go. But anyway, so we've been dealing with that all day. So hopefully you guys are doing well. That was my story about not being able to do Tuesday, but I thought we would go live on Wednesday. So what's going on in the slot car world out there? It was a very busy weekend. Lots of live streams. The slotted U.S. Nationals were on the Electric Dreams, and I know a lot of people were watching that stream. I checked in a couple times, and there was a lot of people watching. So, and some great racing action. So that just got me thinking about, the coverage of my track. And when we raced last week on the live stream, got some good feedback. People enjoyed that. But maybe we'll do some laps tonight. I've been testing some different sensors, working on an update to my DIY track lap counter. I'm using an Arduino. And so I went to an IR beam sensor and made changes to that. And it seems to be working pretty good. I was just doing some tests with Faslaps. Patrick sent me an updated code, giving me a couple more months of testing. And I think it's going to work pretty good. I've tested 2 lanes. I just finished wiring the other 2 lanes, and I did get some ghost laps, but I think that it has something to do with the wiring. I don't think it's an interference thing. So I've got some more testing to do, but maybe we'll jump into that a little bit. Outside of that, haven't done a lot of slot cars since last Tuesday. It's been tough to get down here in the basement. I'm in the midst of my largest marketing event. I've got multiple things going on last week and this week. Our local county fair, which is gigantic for me. Thursday night, Friday night, and all day Saturday, I will be buying animals for the 4-H sale, the junior fair livestock sale. So I've got a few busy days ahead of me. I don't know if I'm going to get my videos done that I need to get. Ooh, I'm seeing some lag. Guys, are you seeing that? Yeah, this isn't good. Let's see if I can kill some things here that might help. Yeah, my video looks pretty choppy. I'm just running out of space on this computer, guys. It's becoming more and more of a problem every week. Let's quit that app. Make sure I don't have any apps running, just to free up some RAM and see if that improves. So let's take a look at what we've got in the chat and see if, see what's going on here. How about that? Is that better? Oh, that seems to be a little better. All right, let's start at the top. Who all do we have in here tonight? Good evening, Shotgun Dave. It's crazy. Every week the size of my graphics change. And they're not in the middle. So good evening. Hello, Chris. Hello, John Tucci, HSF. Good evening. Hey, Greg. Welcome. Gene is in the house. Hello, Gene. B2 is here. Bryce. Hey, Bryce. Welcome. Good to have you. John Tucci. What else? Who else? Hey, Gina. Have you been here since 7? That's funny. John Albright. Welcome. Hey, Daniel. Good to have you guys. Thanks for joining tonight. I really appreciate you showing up for this. I really, having to move it to Wednesday, I have no idea. My expectations are pretty low. Let me know if you guys are having audio or video issues. Hey, RW53. Thanks for joining. Hey, DNA. Dahi, how are you? Hey, Gary. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Michael Squire. How's the building going? Michael, have you decided on what NASCAR you're going to be building for this next proxy? My wife and I last weekend, we went to, my wife has a little side hustle where she buys vintage kind of home decor. And she's got an Instagram account and she shares, she creates flats, like designs, and sells these little items. And so we went shopping at some antique malls and some flea markets and things on Saturday. And I found a handful of model kits that I could have used, and I didn't buy them. And now I probably regret that I didn't pick them up. Hey, Gerber, welcome. Hey, Circuit Society. Thanks for coming tonight. So that's where we're at. It's trying to figure out what NASCAR I'm going to build for the proxy. I was talking to Danny Wiley last night. Yeah, man. He was in rough shape last night. I would say he was on the verge of an overdose until I was able to get him to get sick and kind of empty his stomach a little bit. But he's fine. He's fine now. And, the vet basically said, there's not much we can do for him now. Just have to watch him over the next couple of days and see if he has any lasting issues. So thanks, Patrick. Hey, Patrick, got 2 of the 4 lanes wired up. The new sensors are working great with Faslaps. You can see, actually, there's the Faslaps practice screen. I'll run a few laps. I did have a couple of ghost laps, but I think it was because my sensors, I had forgot that I had moved the bridge, and I don't think things were lined up perfectly. And so I think I was getting some bleed over from one LED to the other. So I think that it seems to be working pretty good right now. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. It was Gus. He was our puppy, and he's 9 months old now. He's still kind of destructive, so he likes to chew on things. And he must have been able to smell those. They look like big vitamins. They're actually for our oldest dog has congestive heart failure, and the vet gave us some medication. But it's like these big vitamins, and they taste like treats, so that it's easier for dogs to eat them. And he must have been able to smell them and just couldn't wait. So ended up eating the whole. But we got to counting. I think he ate 8 pills, which he weighs 5 times what our little dog weighs. So I'm thinking that it just gave him, probably his heart was racing pretty bad, and probably dropped his blood pressure a little bit. He was very anxious and was panting pretty heavy, and he had the hiccups, which I thought was really odd. But that was the first time I'd ever seen him do that. And so I figure it was just something from the medication. So, Gene, I ordered the 24 DuPont Jeff Gordon. Nice. Very good, Gene. That's a great car. Great car. Yeah, if anybody else has picked their livery, I'm really curious. I'm sure that we'll have some duplicates if there's a bunch of cars. B2, I love my Thunder slot cars. Yeah, man, I'm a fan. You guys know that. I talk about Thunder slots a lot. Hey, Steve Sweeney. Welcome, Steve. Hope you're doing well, man. Man, that's still awfully big. There we go. So Fast Speedway. Good evening. Yeah, James. Yeah, the Reds gave up a grand slam in the first inning, so I am not watching. I don't know about you guys, but I'm Dahi and I were talking about it earlier. I am a big Olympics fan. I probably talked about that last week, and that's about all I've gotten done is when I do have any time, I've got the TV on and watching the Olympics. Yeah, good stuff. So, yep, stopping and starting, Marty. Okay, did the video clear up a little bit? Let me know if the things that I did improved it. It looks better on my end. I'm not choppy on my end, so I feel like maybe it's come around. Hey, Slot Cars of Atlanta. Hey, Toju. Todd, thanks for joining. Who else? Have we missed anybody? If I've missed somebody, I apologize. Hey, Robert. If the teacher isn't here within 15 minutes, we're allowed to leave. Hey, Doug. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, doing much better now. Hey, Sean. Good to hear from you. Thanks for joining tonight. So what else do we have going on? Hey, Dusty. There's my brother. Thanks, Gina. Yeah, I think I killed some things that were applications that were running on my computer, and I think that helped. So thanks for the feedback. George has your car, Days of Thunder. Pistol Pete, I know. So here's my thing with that. It is a 124 scale, and I really wanted to build a 125th scale just because of the size difference. It's not a big difference, but it's different enough. And that Days of Thunder car is definitely 125th or 124th scale. But that City Chevrolet, that's one of my favorite movies. One of my videos that I've been working on is my top 5. You guys know I like lists. I like top 5s, top 10 lists. My top 5 racing moments of all time in movies. And then I realized that doesn't really belong on a slot car channel, and I didn't finish it. But the Days of Thunder movie is one of my favorites. I've watched that movie hundreds of times. Every time it's on, I get stuck watching it. It's fun. I know it's not realistic, but in that back when it was new, when it was first out, it was just footage you'd never seen before. I mean, I think that movie taught NASCAR about what people really wanted to be able to see from their, driver's point of view and camera angles, and it really improved NASCAR on TV, which ultimately probably is what has hurt NASCAR, is the coverage on TV is so stinking good now that people would rather sit at home and watch rather than go to the race. So maybe we'll do the Days of Thunder. Got a couple other options. We'll see. Gene, question: how did you get him to empty his stomach? Gene, he has a habit of drinking lots of water. If you fill up a bowl of water, he will drink it until it's gone. And so I just kept filling up a bowl of water until I got his stomach full. And we went outside and he about, 5:30 this morning, something like that. 4:30 this morning. Yeah. He decided that he had way too much water in his stomach and threw up. So that helped. So if he wouldn't have done that, I don't know what I would have done. Stick my finger down his throat, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, hopefully Gus will be okay. Waiting for the 91 Country Time Lemonade Oldsmobile. John, that's cool. I like it. Yeah, a lot of those model kits, the Oldsmobiles, the Pontiacs, the Buicks, the back then, those are all 1/25th scale. A lot of those are 1/25th scale. So Steve is celebrating a birthday and he's going to go racing. That's cool. Yeah, I can't go. Bernie is going to disown me. I get invited all the time, and I always have some kind of conflict. Even when he moves it to a Thursday night, I have my band practice on Thursdays, and then this week I have the 4-H sale, and I'll be there from 6 p.m. till probably 11 or 12. There's like 400 hogs to sell, so all good now. That's good. I'm thinking of doing Bill Elliott Coors. Gerber, that is a great car. That Melling Coors, number 9. I was a big Bill Elliott fan. It's probably why I like Chase now, just because I liked his dad. I rooted for his dad, so that's pretty cool. Well, Steve, happy birthday tomorrow, man, and have fun. Have fun racing at Bernie's. Thanks, Doug. Hey, Eric, what's going on? So what do we have going on in the slot car world today? I mean, we've got I don't know, what are your thoughts on the Mazda 787 that Maurizio showed off? I know that they've already done the Mazda, but I noticed that they're making the chassis a little different, and that chassis on that Mazda looks and reminds me of the chassis that Scale Auto is doing. How the body sits on top of the chassis. Not that bodies don't always sit on top of the chassis, but it's like the chassis is a plate. And anyway, it'll be interesting to see how well that car runs. One of the things from the race this past weekend, John Albright and I were talking about, they made the Nissans, because the body is so light with the Nissan cars, those Group C cars, that they had to add 4 grams to the body. But it still didn't keep people from running the Nissan. There was an overabundance of Nissan cars. But I thought it was cool that Jim Rose finished third with Jaguar, and then there was a lot of the Porsche 962s in the race. And that there was a bigger mix of cars. Saw a lot of Toyotas, but it still seemed like the Nissan was the fast car to beat. Hey, John Mark. Welcome. Hey, DK Moon. Hey, Tad. Yeah, we got a nice crowd tonight for not being on the normal night. So shout out to George. George did a live last night. I don't think he was planning on it, but decided that he was bored, so he went live, and I appreciate giving the guys something to do. Built my Thunderslot Ferrari 350 for the race, and it's blazing fast. Yes, Steve, it's a great car. I am sure that you will tear it up on Bernie's track. Hey, James. Great. Good to know. Bob B has no chance. I love it. Hey, Danny. Good to have you. That's great. Bob might be in the chat. He jumps in here every once in a while. So, good stuff. The 10-speed transmission on those cars in Days of Thunder. A lot of shifting. B2, unfortunately, you missed why I love Thunderslot. My new Elva MK arrived yesterday. Ooh, B2, nice. The number 11965 came in third place. The Thunderslot ran fast and quietly. Yeah, B2, I am a fan of them because they're just so stinking smooth and quiet. And I feel like they're easy cars to tune. Um, they really do a nice job. You like the top five, like the movie High Fidelity. Yeah, Daniel, actually, High Fidelity is one of my favorite movies, just because I think John Cusack is great in it, and he makes lists, so I have this connection with him. So here's my top five songs to play at a funeral. Yeah, good stuff. I went with Dale Jr. 04 Bud Monte Carlo. I'm sure there will be a 6-pack of those at Harry's. Tad, I don't know. But you're right. A lot of people like Dale Jr. My dad was a big Dale Earnhardt fan. I was never a big fan, but I appreciated how good of a driver he was. But I probably liked Junior better than his dad. But yeah, that will be a popular car, I'm sure. Let's see. Vin wants to know, how was the concert? Vin, the concert was good. A lot of you might not be familiar with Hosier. He is a fantastic vocalist, but he's a really, really good guitar player, and that's really, I love his guitar work. But the problem was parking for this venue was about 1.5 miles away, and my wife has some knee issues that make it hard for her to walk long distances like that. And so it stormed. We had tornadoes before the concert. We had power outages before the concert, which means we couldn't find a restaurant to eat in because nobody had power. So we had to drive further away to find a restaurant. By the time we got back, we were parked 1.5 miles away from the venue. We walked to the venue. They told us we weren't allowed to bring in our chairs. So I hid the chairs behind a tree. Somebody stole them. We got to the gate, went to security, and they wouldn't let my wife bring her little backpack in that has all of her medication, her EpiPen, things like that. And I had to walk it back to the car to lock it up and then walk back to the venue. So I sent her in so that she could at least enjoy the beginning of the concert. And by the time I walked 3+ miles in pouring rain and got back to the venue, I missed most of the concert. I probably missed the first 5 or 6 songs, and he played 12 or 13 songs total in the set, and then his encore. And then it took us a couple hours to get out of the venue, so it was just, yeah. So it was good. It was a really good concert. I didn't enjoy. We should have went to tonight's concert. It was a lot closer. It was in Columbus instead of Cleveland. It was in the Schottenstein Center. That would have had seats. But the tickets were a gift from my daughter Caroline, and we had a great time once we got there. We just had some challenges getting there. This isn't transportation; it's consumption. We were at Phoenix when they were filming Days of Thunder. Gladstone, that's pretty cool. I know a lot of people have that memory of when they were shooting race footage and things like that when they were making that film. So very cool. You can get 125th decal set for it, Days of Thunder. So then all I had to do is find a Chevy Lumina 125th scale. I might do that, but it's probably just as easy just to buy off of George. But that is really cool. How about Ricky Bobby's car from Talladega Nights? That movie's funny, but I know some people can watch it over and over and over again. But I find Will Ferrell's comedy is it makes me anxious a little bit. The no shame. I get embarrassed for him in how he acts. So watching that movie over and over again, I'll catch it and watch a little bit of it. It's good. It's funny. The new slotted chassis 3-hole setup. I'm not a fan of 3-hole chassis setups. Always more difficult to tune. Yeah, that was my issue with it as well. I mean, they already do that with some of their Group C cars, and you would think that all of the this Thunder slot's a 3-screw setup, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. I really don't like when they put 2 in the back. Yeah, I probably will too, Steve. Just check it out and see. Hey, Josh. Josh is up in northern Michigan, where Tim Allen is probably doing a commercial. He's the voiceover guy for those Michigan commercials. Josh is up here on his motorcycle. Yeah, the kid from Motown was very fast. I'm super impressed. I mean, I think it was the first time he'd ever raced outside of it. His family owns Motown, his grandpa does, so no doubt he doesn't get lots and lots and lots and lots of laps, which was pretty evident that he was very, very fast. It was cool to find out that he prepped his own car, because there's a lot of guys in that race that don't prep their own cars, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I just thought it was cool that he prepped his own car. Yeah, Josh, enjoy, man. Yeah, Georgia's NASCAR is really, really good. It looks great. Agree, great movie. Hey, Daniel Thomas, welcome. Yeah, Danny's doing the Mark Martin Jolly Rancher. That's a great livery. Liza. Oh, so hi, Marty. I'm Jason. Love the show, brother. I was at the Nationals and saw the Mazda. It's a 767B. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, 767, which is different than the 787. So I like that. I thought it looked really good, and I know that was just a 3D printed version of it, but I'll be excited. I am a fan of the Group C cars, so hopefully we'll see when those release a year from now. I mean, they introduced the Datsun 510 a year ago at the race, and they still haven't released yet, but they're pretty close. So I'm guessing that it'll be about the same time frame for that Mazda. So maybe it'll be out. Maybe they'll have a goal to have it out before next year's slot at Nationals. Yeah. Hey, DW. Welcome. Thanks, Jason. It still beats a Bay City Rollers concert. Yeah, probably right. Yeah, he was good. It's the third time I've seen Hosier, but it was the first time my wife had got a chance to see him, and she really likes him. So, yeah, Gene, I completely agree. I am a fan of small venues. The last concert I went to before this was a Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors concert, and it was a small venue. There was only about, 500 or 600 people there. And it was awesome. Yeah, it was a circuit. I was at Blossom. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful venue because you're right there at Cuyahoga Valley National Park. And so it's not that, but it was just, man, the parking is. Yeah, and the way they do the parking is you get a parking pass for the year. And so like we couldn't even pay to upgrade to get closer. So anyway, hey, Mad P, welcome. Hope you're doing well. You're talking about the movie. Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous. which is that's Will Ferrell, right? I mean, I think about Elf. I love Elf. I think it's my favorite Will Ferrell movie. But it's so over the top. Hey, Raul. Raul was back from California. Sounds like you guys had a fun trip. That's pretty cool. I'm sure we'll see more and more content come out from that. Hey, Anthony, welcome. But yeah, Raul, thanks, man. Thanks for joining. It's good to have you. Greg, I was at Charlotte Motor Speedway when they shot the scene from Talladega Nights underwear scene right after qualifying at the fall race. What a scene you got to witness, Greg. Hey, Bob. Welcome. Good to have you. Thanks for joining tonight. What do we have to talk about? I'm just kind of going through comments. Marty, I've seen Tim Allen's lake house while on a friend's speedboat. It's impressive. Different lake than I'm on right now, though. Gotcha. That's cool. Yes, I was surprised. He did his car and races great and so young. Yeah, he's young, 16, but man, he was impressive. We have definitely gotten spoiled by Revo Slot pumping out all kinds of cars. Yeah, they've got quite a few cars that I would like to take a look at. John, all right. I agree. It's what my wife and I decided, that we were not prepared for that outdoor venue. And we don't like to be not prepared. I was a Boy Scout. Be prepared is my motto. And I kind of left all that up to my wife. And yeah, it kind of bit me. Danny, I know that STP Marcos looks really, really good. Yeah, that's a great car. Daniel, Blossom is 10 minutes from your house. That's cool. Yeah, beautiful venue, man, but the parking was awful. If it was just me, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I don't take a bag in. My wife, on the other hand, bag, chairs, purse. Yeah, we were a mess. Unprepared. Hey, Anthony, I'm doing well, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Last concert I went to was Saratoga Performing Arts Center. They had about 15,000 people. Yeah, it gets old being around that stuff. Like John Albright said, the older I get, the less I'm willing to go through that stuff. Talladega Nights is more of a documentary than a comedy. I think they call those mockumentaries, Dusty, not documentaries. All right, let's talk slot cars. That's enough. Where do we start? A couple things. A few weeks ago, I got, I think I told you, I did a video on it. I told you about Knapp from Canada. He was designing a 3D printed tire truer, tire cleaner station that locked into your track. And I did a video, went through, gave some recommendations, some things I would change, gave him some feedback. And he sent me another one this week. I got it yesterday. I haven't even had a chance to take a look at it. But he made some changes based on my feedback and a few other people's feedback. And I know a lot of guys have reached out to me and say, hey, how do I get a hold of this? And so it sounds like it's going to be available, if he doesn't have to make any changes, in about a month. And it will be available on Amazon first. I'll probably make another video. But I thought maybe we would take a look at it and open it up. Now, it's not going to look a lot different, I don't think. Says here, hoping this version of my truer is final. I made it significantly larger and a little heavier build. It seems comfortable accommodating a large 124 scale car. Yeah, so the problem I had was the Carrera 124 scale cars were just a little too long, and you kind of had to open the Oh, yeah, the sanding disc. So you'd flip that up, and it would barely fit. And so he made some changes to that. He also added rubber feet and the gray cleaning cloth, but normally those would be set of parts with minor assembly to the customer. So when you get it, you'll have to put some of these parts on. The squeeze bottle replaces the spray bottle, which he will probably be using isopropyl alcohol. Let's see. He says to use it on the cloth and the sanding disc. The alcohol, remember you can set up one gray cloth on the track behind the churro, so when you flip up the disc, loose debris won't land on the cloth. It will land on the cloth. A customer can cut the sanding discs in half with dual grit capability. Lastly, the sanding discs are common and very inexpensive, so consumable costs are very low. Looks forward to the feedback. So let's take a look. Oh, I already noticed some changes. I may have to grab the other one just to compare. All right. So here we go. He has lowered the angle, so it's a little flatter. Okay. And the cleaner bed is at an angle, so that's new. He beefed up the frame, added the feet, but he did change the design here. So that's all 3D printed in. Yeah, this looks really good. Yeah, it looks really good. I like the changes. Where's my... Here. So we'll try this. And again, this is not for everyone. Oh, yeah. The angle. I'll hold this up. Here's the 1/24th card. If you watch my video, you notice that was a problem. It bottomed out on the rear and didn't let the tires. So because he extended and lowered this, that actually is at a really good angle. So now if I flip this up, I should be able to set that in. And oh, yeah. Plenty of room for the 120. Nice changes. So this is what I like about working with a small manufacturer, because within 3 weeks, he took changes that people recommended and made the right changes. Yeah, this is really an upgrade to the other one. So Nap, if you're on here, congrats, great job. I will run it through its paces. I'll do some testing. And what we'll probably do is, this is still a prototype. Maybe it comes with everything you need. Maybe we'll give this away on the channel, because he told me that I could, when I was done testing, I could do what I wanted with it. So after I'm done testing, maybe we can get this in the hands of somebody who can use it. So cool stuff. Anything in the chat? Speaking of Riva slot and tuning, the axle upright shims are now available in the States. I will say that I am impressed with the change in handling. I will have to check that out. Hey, Gary Driscoll. Yeah, no worries, man. Don't ever be sorry about dropping in whenever you can. It's all good. Mark Cunningham. Good evening, everyone. Quick question: has anyone here had a Carrera tire randomly go south? I would say that most of us have, Mark. Carrera tires are famous for that. One of the rear tires on my Porsche K3 suddenly looked scaly and got ultra sticky. Yeah, that's kind of something that happens to Carrera tires. Not every set of tires. It's real inconsistent. but if they sit on the shelf for a while, they will kind of turn to goo. And we've had some tires do that on us. And what's crazy is they're good one day, and then it's like they're gone the next. So that is a common problem. Yep. Mark, those tires are notorious for going bad. Yes, Mark, in just a couple of months. And I don't know if it's something to do with the compound that they use, the rubber. I don't know. But over the last couple of years, there have been lots of complaints from people in this live chat, in this live stream. Does the creator of the tire cleaner have a channel? No, he doesn't have a channel, but he's the same person that designed and sells the Contour 2, the track cleaner that you push around the track. And he's done an upgrade to that as well. And we use one here when we run digital, because we just throw a ghost car on and let it push it around, and it cleans the track. It does a great job. But he will probably use, I think in the past he's sold through CarreraSlots.com. I think that's where Dusty got the Contour 2 track cleaner. And so hopefully he'll have it there as well. But he said that he would also put it on his Amazon store. But he doesn't have a channel. So that's probably why he sent one to me, hoping that I might make a video about it if I thought it was worthwhile. I did some testings on the first one and gave him a bunch of feedback, and that was a pretty popular video. So I know that there are guys out there that are looking for an inexpensive tire cleaner, tire. It's not really a truer in the sense that it's basically just sands the tires, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfect for Skeletric and Carrera and any other car. You got rubber tires, you just want to scratch them a little bit, scuff them so they get a little better traction. It's perfect for that. It locks in on your track, and it uses the power of the track. So you put the car in, it's got here's the first prototype. So yeah, he changed the hinge. The hinge not quite as tall. The frame is beefier. You can see that I've used it to clean tires, but it locks in. It's got like a guide lock here. There's a pin, and it locks into your track. So you set it down on the track, but then it's got a bumper here on the front, so you can just set the car in it, and then go to your controller, clean your tires, sand your tires. But lowering that angle, that was big, and then extending this out to accommodate the 124th, 125th scale cars. The 125th scale car wasn't a problem. The 124 scale was super, super tight. You could do it, but you had to squeeze it in behind that hinge, and it was really a tight squeeze. So that was the purpose. Bryce, what I will do is I will post a link to that once he has a link out there to purchase, so you can take a look at it. Mark, I had that happen to a Chevy Stingray. Both tires, I got new ones from Great Traditions. Mark, those tires seem to be a hit and miss, but you never know how old the car really is and what it went through in shipping. Yeah, I don't know if it's like the temperature changes in shipping, but we've had people report that they bought a new car and ordered it, and by the time it got there, the tires were already done. Yeah, no worries. I just replaced the rear tires on a Carrera FXX Ferrari today. It has been sitting in the case and had a gross melty flat spot. Yeah, that's what we find. Bob, very common. Ask me how I know. That's hilarious. That's probably why Bob makes tires. So if you're in need of replacement tires for those Carrera cars, Bob probably has them. Check out his, sorry, Bob, hope it's okay. I'm plugging your stuff. He's got a Facebook page, website, and you can go out there and order. I have some of Bob's urethanes on a couple of my cars. He sent me some samples, and I've tested them. And there were people that kind of complained about my test video, but I thought they thought that I wasn't fair to Bob's tire because I was comparing it to a silicone, but Bob's tires were competing with my silicone tires. And I thought that was the right thing to show. The lap times were right there with each other on my plastic track, which doesn't have any urethane buildup or, it was a clean track. And Bob's tires were really, really good. And I wouldn't just say that. If they were awful, I would have been kind, but I would have said that the tires didn't perform. But all of Bob's tires performed really well for me. So shout out to Bob. Thanks for being here tonight, Bob. Perfect timing. But he's got a list of all the available tires and sizes that he has out there, what cars they fit. So if you need urethane tires, go see Bob. John Albright, are the axle upright shims different from the body post shims or just another name? Yeah, I haven't looked at them, Gene. That's a good question. But it sounds like they're listed as the axle upright shims. Joe, I'm sorry. I couldn't do Tuesday because my wife and I went to a concert. But thanks for joining tonight. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. I saw that Carrera updated their tires recently. They acknowledged that the old tires would do that. The newest tires are a much better compound. It should be better. Yeah, Patrick, I think that they didn't have a choice. That they had to figure out what was going on with those tires and go a different direction. Do you think drive without magnets makes the tires wear more quickly? Gary, I would say that driving with magnets creates a lot more downforce and that probably would wear tires more quickly. But that's just my own thoughts. Without magnets, you probably drift a little bit more. So maybe that would cause more tire wear. I guess that's the counter argument to that. So that's actually a good question. Hey, show me slots. What's up, Pete? Welcome. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate you. I hope that I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes on Wednesday night. If I am, I apologize. I just thought about that. I didn't mean to. The only reason I didn't have it on Tuesday, the only reason I wouldn't have it on Tuesday is if I have a conflict. And the last time I did it, I just didn't even do a live stream that week. So, guys, if I stepped on somebody's toes, I did not mean to. I apologize. Okay, we already hit that one. What else? Gene, they come in 0.15 and 0.24 and go under in between the upright and the chassis. That cleaner is very nice. The changes are exactly what it needed. Great addition to the hobby. Yeah, I think so too, Dusty. I think that what was great is Knapp, he listened. He sent it out to a handful of people and said, tell me what needs to change. He listened, picked the right changes, and the new version versus the old version. Not that the old version, the first prototype I got was bad, but the second prototype, he definitely made some great improvements to it. And it will be a nice $39.99 3D printed tire cleaner truer station. So it's the right price. You can do 143rd, 132nd, and 124, 125th scale cars. That's really, really cool. Oh, 0.25 in sizes, not 2.4. Got it. Slot Car Clubhouse. I think Carrera does not mix their rubber adequately. Sometimes tires in the same car will degrade differently. That's actually a good. That's actually a good. Way to think about that. It's possible that they're pumping out those tires so fast that they're just not. They're not really given enough time. I don't know. let's see, who else do we have? Carrera is doing the best to keep guys like Paul Gage and Bobcat in business. They are. You're right. Yeah, B2. They are great. They work well in your Thunder slot. That's cool. Yeah, man. No problem, Bob. And sounds like I was up in your neck of the woods there there last night. See, if I'd been better planning, I would have went to a concert, dropped my wife off at the concert, and gone slot car racing with you guys. John posted the link. There you go, guys. They're available out at LEB. Every car I own gets its magnets removed and Bobcat urethane rears. That's part of your basics prep. Very nice. Ordered a set of Paul Gage for replacements last night. Horizons expanding. There you go, Mark. Just my luck. I was off yesterday evening. Yeah, sorry about that, Chris. Todd, I need to get urethane for my car. Joe, how often are you truing your non-silicone tires? Well, I mean, I could see if you had this at your track that you could just scuff them real quick, just like you're cleaning them. I noticed that Harry Wise and George and Shotgun Dave, when at the proxy race, if a car was just not hooking up, they would throw it on the sandpaper for a few seconds, 10, 15 seconds, and then throw it back on the track and really get those tires a good clean. So, with rubber or urethane, that would work really well. Yeah, silicone, we know that they're using this. You would be there all day and probably burn up your motor trying to true those silicone tires. Hey, Hobbit. Thanks for joining. Good to have you. I wouldn't worry about that, Marty. Everybody here knows your heart. Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, I didn't even think about it when I scheduled it, but I did put it out a couple days ago because I knew that I was not going to be able to do Tuesdays. So that's that. Gosh, I guess I forgot about my phone. Yeah, so one of my friends at work, a fellow employee, his son got the grand champion rabbit today. He just texted me. That's awesome. Let's see. I could probably... Let's see if this works. That does not work. All right. I upgraded. I noticed something was wrong. I think I downgraded, not upgraded. Because now I can't use my iPhone as a camera. If you true rubber right, you shouldn't have to true again unless they shred. They only enough to clean them up. There you go. Thanks, John. Question. What is your source for silicone tires? Gladstone, since we race at Cincy Slots, Super Tires, he sells Super Tires there. And so we use Super Tire silicone a lot of the time. We will use the at the NSR Nationals if we end up going in November. They have a spec tire from Quick Slicks, and we do use some Quick Slick tires, but we are fans of the Super Tires. They're really, really good silicones. It looks like Dusty answered your question. Yep. Yeah, we get them from Cincy Slots. Those are really good. Gene uses Quick Slicks. Get them from Slot Car Corner. That's where we've ordered them as well. You can get them from LEB, Professor Motor. Yeah, they all have them. What else? Oh, so you guys have seen my ongoing saga of trying to figure out what's going on with the DIY, the homemade TrackMate, basically. Using an Arduino. I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, I built my own lap counter, and I used a guide sensor. So when the guide was in the slot, it'd go through the sensor, and we were having all kinds of ghost laps in both Race Coordinator and Patrick's Faslaps, and really couldn't figure it out. And then there was an overwhelming response of, hey, it's some type of interference that you're dealing with. And everybody was right. And then I did everything I could possibly come up with to isolate the lap counting. And it just never got any better. So I swapped those out for some basic sensors that just, there was light sensitivity. So basically turn the light off, turn the light on. So the shadow of the car would do it. And with some work, they worked really well with Race Coordinator. And then Patrick and I were just trying to decide. We were still getting ghost laps, and we were still dealing with all kinds of interference. Now, I think part of the problem is I have a digital track. I'm converting to analog using a box. There's all kinds of stuff going on with this track because of that. And I was just thinking that there's just a lot of radio waves, a lot of radio frequencies that are going on, and it's causing all kinds of issues. And so Patrick is like, hey, why don't you just try an IR beam type of sensor? And so I bought them a couple months ago, and I just have been so busy I hadn't had a chance to really build a gantry or to figure out how I wanted to put them up. So finally the other day I'm like, I've got to get these things working. And so I wired up the two outside lanes, the blue lane and the white lane, and built a makeshift bridge, temporary. It's not what's permanently going to be there, but and then I wired it up, and it worked great with Race Coordinator. So I'm like, all right, let's try it in Faslaps. So I went and launched Faslaps, and my trial had expired. So I sent Patrick an email, and Patrick took great care of me, and we got it up and running. And in those two lanes, I could run all day. No false laps, no lap counting issues, no ghost laps, no nothing. Now tonight I did finish, not finish wiring, but I did wire up the other two lanes. And when I first started running laps, I was getting a couple ghost laps. I was getting ghost laps in the inside two lanes. And then I realized that my bridge was off kilter and the LEDs were not lined up perfectly. And so they were kind of offset. And so once I fixed that, they seem to be working just fine, which is big because I've actually had questions. Daniel sent me a question this week about, hey, what did I recommend if I built my own? What software would I recommend? And some of that stuff. And I get that question a lot because I did that original video. And I think that this solution, the IR beam, let me see, I could probably find the actual hang on. I'll put the link out there to those sensors, but it's basically a 2-piece sensor. It's an IR, and it breaks the beam, counts the lap. Easy setup. I picked up another Arduino, so that I can run both on the same computer, and just to see how good each one actually worked. And I think the IR beam sensors are the most precise. I think that they do a great job. Seem to be working just fine. and are less susceptible to IR issues or like either magnetic or radio interference problems. Sorry, words are hard tonight. Probably because I'm running on lack of sleep. Okay, I'm not in. There we go. Out of focus. Gladstone, maybe dumb question. Silicones in 125th or 124. Yeah, you can get silicones. Quick Slicks makes some 125th tires. You don't have as much of a selection. Super Tire, they have 124 tires as well. So you do have some options. Yes. Yes, I would agree with that. We've done a lot of testing. One of the cars that we tested with were the Thunder slots and the NSRs, and we found that we were probably a 1/10 quicker, just maybe a little more with those tires. Let's see. Patrick, welcome. Good to have you. Couldn't agree more about the IR beam. That's how TrackMate works when you buy it. Breaking a sensor can't be beat. Yeah, so Hobbit, I think that I was trying to do some different things. The one thing that drives me crazy is at Bruce's, the little TrackMate bridge that he has. I apologize if I'm going to offend anybody. I don't like TrackMate. It's just not that it doesn't work. It is the industry standard, but it's just so dated. Just visually, how it looks on the screen, its race screen, set up, the UI. It's just old and dated. And so I was ready for something that was a little newer and a little more modern. And that's what I really like about Faslaps. I love that the race manager screen and the race screen are two different things. So you can run extended desktop on the computer, and the race screen is on screen 2, and your race management is on screen 1. So adding a lap, subtracting a lap, fixing things. If you got somebody that's managing the race, that's the race director, like any big race you would have, they can fix things. They can manipulate. They can do things right there from the interface without interrupting the race. And I think that that's great. That's what I like about it. Race Coordinator, you have to wait till the end and fix laps in the end, which same way with TrackMate. And not that I don't like that. Race Coordinator, thanks to Rob out in British Columbia, had to think about that for a second. Rob sent me his race screens that he designed, and I love them on Race Coordinator. It really made the software work the way I wanted it to work. So that was really, really good. But just today, I was off work today for part of the day. I spent some time testing and running laps, and Patrick has done a great job. Not to brag about you, Patrick, here on the live stream, but I'm really, really liking the software, and I'll probably do another video just to kind of outline some of the things now that the lap timing doesn't seem to be a problem for me anymore. Bob, do I need to start making 125th? Well, I think 124, 125th, they're probably really close in size. So, but it depends, Bob. Daniel, yes, I did get the 3D print gantry fine. Thank you. Thanks for sending that to me. Greg, yes, the TrackMate is great. I've had it about a year and hasn't missed a beat. Yeah, it's just so solid. Like, and that's why people don't change. If it's working, there's no troubleshooting. It just works like it's supposed to, like advertised. But there are some other options out there now, and it's good to have options. And if I took the camera over and you could see like just the look of that, I think about a lot of people are using Lapmaster. That's what Marco's using at Electric Dreams. That's what Butch, our friend Butch, that's what he uses on his track. I know John Albright says that he has it for when he builds his wood track. Lapmaster is really, really good, but Patrick hinted around about an update later this week or next week that's going to add I think the feature that people like in Lapmaster is that it has the lap record for each lane that stays up on the race screen, so people can see what the fastest lap is. And that has become a stat that I think people enjoy at the big races. And so Patrick, the way he's implementing it, I think is going to look good and be very, very cool. So, like, there are other softwares that are catching up. And so, but Lapmaster seems to be really popular. It's just that it only works with their hardware. So that's one of the issues. But yeah, Greg, you're right. TrackMate, it just works. Hobbit, yes, Marty, it's pretty silly that you can't even exit TrackMate by using the X button and other things. Yeah, Hobbit, I'm not bad mouthing TrackMate. It's at hundreds and hundreds of tracks, or thousands of tracks probably. I don't know. It's been around the longest, but I don't know when the last time there was an update to the software. And like, it just visually, I think there's some things that some of the newer pieces of software are doing that I like. Lapmaster, I like that interface. The only problem with Lapmaster for me was it was very difficult to read on the screen at the Electric Dreams race. They had it up in this corner, and it was so small. And I understand you only have so much screen real estate, but because of it, it was really difficult to read. The text was all real small. There's so much going on that screen that it made it very difficult. And I heard guys in the live stream the whole time, that window needs to be bigger. We can't read the window. So that's the only feedback that I would have and see. And I think that probably wouldn't be the problem, a problem for Faslaps. I think it's very easy to read, especially if I threw it up into a race so you could see what the race screen looks like. Dusty, I have 150 people to paint and print first. Hey, collection. Yeah, no worries. Welcome. Good to have you. When you guys say silicone tires require a lot of track cleaning, how often are you talking? Daily, multiple times a day, depending on laps? Mark, once a day. We wipe down the track, run laps, don't wipe it down again until the next time we race. So it's not super complicated of a cleaning. We just a damp rag, and we wipe down the track, and we're good to go. We're good to go. But, John Albright gives me a hard time about rubber tires come on your car. So, like, the first thing you're doing is spending $8 on a set of tires to replace brand new tires that come on your car. And I think that using tire treatment and things like that, you can get a lot of grip out of rubber. Probably more grip than you can get out of silicone if you treat the tires and do that. Because I watch how their cars perform, and there's not a lot of drifting on cars that are, using treated tires and things like that. So there are advantages to everything. I feel like the silicone, guys say that it's worth spending the time and energy and effort in truing silicone tires. but I love lapping a fresh set of silicones that have not been scuffed at all. I feel like they perform really, really well. So I don't know. Now, Greg, he'll jump on here and say, yes. Steve Sweeney will say, yes, true your silicones. But, man, it takes a long time to true silicone tires. These kids today, when you've been used to TrackMate for so many years, it's not that bad and gives you all the info you need without fail. I know, John. I know. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not dogging it. It is the standard. But I just think there's some new software out there that does it better. But again, you're getting the same information. I just think visually, I was a software guy. I owned a software company for about 12, 15 years, a little tiny one. And UI was important to me, how it looked on the screen, the customer experience. Was it easy to use? I think, TrackMate's pretty easy to use. It does have that going for you, but so are all these other ones. Let's see. Mark, that's how we wipe the track down before we run that day. Yeah, that's pretty easy. Pushing update as we speak. So what you're saying is I could walk back once that update's there, update it on here. I could show it off on the live stream. Is that what you're saying, Patrick? I don't think I have enough time, but yeah, on the next race night, we would definitely be using it. The next race night we do, I'll probably live stream again. I think that was fun. But it probably won't be a Tuesday. And then I think I mentioned last week, working with Greg on some dates to host a race here for the NSR guys that are going up to Michigan to race in the NSR Nationals. We'll have a test and tune and race day here on this track just to get people used to plastic track, because it used to be a wooden track. So we would do all the race prep at Butch's track, but now that it's going to be on plastic, it would be good to get some of the Scalato track to be able to do some testing. Yep. Preferred cleaner. So just a damp cloth. I typically use either isopropyl alcohol or Windex. I feel like those do a great job. I know some people do a mixture of alcohol and Windex, thin the Windex out a little bit. That all does good. A straight Swiffer, dry Swiffer does a great job. So you don't have to use a cleaner, but I tend to use either rubbing alcohol or Windex. Yeah, John, he cleans his once a month and vacuums it regularly. Yeah, I vacuum it with the shop vac. Anytime I vacuum the floor here, I vacuum the track. Yeah, we do use Simple Green. I've stopped using Simple Green. I felt like it was starting to leave a little bit of a residue. I don't think I've diluted it enough. So I think that, but it does a really good job. Yeah, Todd says they always clean before a run. Michael Squire, I run a car with masking tape under it to clean off the dust. Yeah, we've done that too. We were doing that, and then Dusty got the contour cleaner, so then we started pushing that around. I love to hear more about the Race Coordinator, if it's still a LAN cable to interface the hardware. TM is tried and true for me, but I'm not against checking out others if I can make quick connections. Hobbit, I am working on a video with the update, just kind of like an update of here's some sensors I've tried, here's where I've had good luck, here's what I haven't, that I kind of walk through all of that. So in the next couple of weeks, I should have something like that out. But yeah, I like it. It's easy. The connection between the computer and the track hardware is an Arduino, which is, like a Raspberry Pi type of device, but it's an Arduino. So it was like, I don't know, $12. So it's not expensive hardware. I think I have in my sensors, they're like $3 a piece. So I have 4 of them. I have the Arduino. I have some wiring. I mean, it was really pretty inexpensive. Some scrap wood around here I built the bridge with. But I'm looking at different gantries. It's either going to be the Rolex type bridge, or maybe even Spa's bridge. I kind of like it. Or it'll be the Dunlop tire. So eventually that's the plan. So I know Racetrack Scenics and Magnetic Racing, both, they have those. So I'll figure out what I end up wanting to do, and then I'll build it proper at that point. But right now it's just a piece of wood. I used to clean my track every time we raced, but after using tack cloth to clean the track, I can clean it fewer intervals. My basement is finished, however. Yeah, my biggest issue is I'm in an unfinished basement, but it does have a concrete floor, but I do get some dust down here. So that's what we have to deal with. What am I into if I put silicones on cars and tracks that have been urethane? Gladstone. So urethane and rubber tend to like lay down as they wear and get faster. So I feel like what will happen is if you run silicones, everything sticks to silicone, and so you'll pull up all that rubber or urethane off of your track. And so that's like, if anybody runs urethanes or rubber track, they always say no silicones on my track, because a set of silicones will pull all that up in a couple of laps. Because it is, when the silicone is clean, it's really sticky, and it adheres and picks up everything. There you go. Joe said it best. Gerber, I would say yes. I would say as you treat rubber tires, you probably are shortening their life span, their life. Let's see. Greg, honestly, Quick Slicks does a great tire. You can slip on and go. And had the NSR prep race at my track, and the GT race after 20 minutes of driving had 9 laps between 7th and 1st. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is a great slip-on tire. That's the nice thing about silicones. Buzzkill 230 RC. What's your preference in racing, analog or digital, and why? D'Angelo. One, welcome to the channel. Thanks for the question in the live chat. You will find that this is a safe place for digital and analog racing. Magnets, no magnets. This is a safe place for Quick Slicks and the Super Tire silicones, Bob's urethanes, Paul Gage urethanes, or stock rubber. We have enough people in this that like all of those things, and that's what's great about it. I can run digital and analog on my track. I tend to do more analog racing, mainly because I have more analog cars. I have probably 8 digital cars versus 45 or 50 analog cars. And so that's typically what we do. At our club, we race analog and we race no magnets. And so because we want to practice for racing at the club at Cincy Slots, we do the same thing on my track. We race no magnets. We race analog cars. But I can flip a switch and be racing digital. And I've got the Bluetooth adapter, and then I've got the cable. And so we can actually run either Smart Race for digital or Faslaps has digital. So we can do that as well on this track. So we do both. But right now, because we prep for our club, we probably do way more analog racing than we do digital at the moment. But that could change. We could get into a habit of running some digital. We've joked around about chipping these cars because they're so much fun to run. It would be fun to make this a digital car because it's not quite as fast as the NSRs or the Thunder Slots. So it'd be a little easier to get into the pits. So we've talked about that. That might be a fun series to do digitally. So hopefully that answers your question. Yep, 100%. I agree, Joe. Hobbit Racing. Silicone is ease for all. Yep. Rubber, if treated well and unkept, is exceptional performance. That said, I like easy button, fellas. That was easy. PBP, what doesn't Marty do? Software engineer, musician, broadcaster, taking the showdown podium. That's funny. Speaking of broadcasting, I have not had a chance to broadcast a soccer game in a long time, actually, and their season is rolling around. And I thought if they didn't have so many games on Tuesday nights, that it would be fun to get back in and do some announcing. So, but we're going to stick with slot cars for now. I was not really a software engineer. I was kind of a UI tester and a UI like designer, but I didn't really code. I'm not that good at math. But I'm not a master of any of those. See, that's the problem. Yep, Steve is right. Yep. Well, I'm in the process of deploying. We'll take another 30 minutes or so. All right. I'll check back later, Patrick. Yeah, if you'd let me know when it's out there, I will go straight out, download it, and give you some feedback tonight. Because I have a feeling I'm gonna run some laps after we're done because I want to do some more testing. Yep, Steve Sweeney, they stick. Sprayway glass cleaner, HSF, Sprayway glass cleaner. I've not used glass cleaner other than I guess a Windex's glass cleaner, but I could see where that would be good stuff. Sprayway, I'm not familiar with that. Lapmaster is from Karstein, the maker of Karstein controllers. Okay, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. I don't know how many of you in the stream watched the live stream of the Electric Dreams race. I just love racing, and so I had some time, and I wanted to watch some of the finals, and I had some friends there, MP and Raul and Pete, and Jim Cunningham was there, and I'm trying to think who else we know that was actually racing. And so I wanted to see those guys get their laps in. So I peeked in, off and on all day on Sunday and watched some of the racing. And John Albright and I were talking about, it looked like a lot of the guys were running that newer Apex controller from True Speed. And I told him, I said, the biggest problem with that is I've not been able to find it in stock. And when lo and behold, Electric Dreams has it in stock. And so I think a lot of guys switched to that this weekend to test that controller out. Travis has a controller that I've really been interested in, and he's been testing it this week, and he really likes it. And it's similar. It's got a box with a lot of options for you. And see, I think sometimes we get so many adjustments that it's really hard to make adjustments on the fly. But what I liked about that Apex, I like the feel of the DeValco controller. I like the handle and the feel of a True Speed controller. They're very similar. But what I noticed is you had the box that hung on the rail that had a bunch of adjustments. But then on your handle, you had your three basic, your brake, your sensitivity, and your, I believe the third was probably traction control. And so you could still make race adjustments on the fly. But I think if you're trying to adjust that box during a race, there's no way to do that. You have to look down. You have to, it'd be tough to do it from feel. You have to really get, and see, that's the problem I have with the slot-it controller. It doesn't have great feel, trigger feel, and then I can't find anything without looking at the controller. And so, mid-race adjustments when I've got a car that's just a little too hot and in every corner I'm overcooking it, I need to adjust the sensitivity, right? So, but I don't know if anybody noticed that there were a lot of people that seemed to be using that controller. We thought that that's what Jim Rose was using. Jim's not in the chat tonight, but I did hear on the live stream that he was actually using kind of a combination. It was a third eye that had been modified. So if anybody has any information about that, I'm super interested. But there's a guy locally that has a Karstein controller used that's been rebuilt. It's like $450 on eBay. It's been out there for a long, long time. And I've been really curious, and I know that that John, you like the Karstein controllers. So I don't know if anybody else noticed that. I was trying to pay attention. Lots of DeFalco controllers. It looked like a lot of DD304s that have the heat sink that's offloaded on the box that hang. I have the 302 that doesn't have that, but it does have traction control. John says, it depends on how you treat your rubber tires. When using rubber softeners, yes, it can affect the tire. Other treatments don't break down the rubber. There you go. Good to know. Steve is like, I'm a Hoosier Goodyear Firestone guy. Can also run both digital and analog on my Carrera track, but I find that I have more analog cars since my club also runs analog. Gene, you run into the same thing that we do. You tend to run what your club runs if you have a club that you go to, because you want to stay practiced up, right? Buzzkill. Thanks, Marty. I ask because I have Scalextric Arc Pro set up that I'm considering building, but I tend to see more analog. Here's the thing about the Scalextric Arc Pro setup, Buzzkill. I believe that there's a switch on that Arc Pro that you can switch and run analog. So then you could run digital, flip the switch, run analog. I don't own one. I'm not familiar with it, but I've had people tell me that that's available built into the Scalextric Arc Pro setup. So you kind of have, if you go with that, you kind of have the best of both worlds. If your tires are hooked up, they don't wear as much. There you go. From scrubbing. Fast Tracks, and what was the lap counter and sensor, Marty? So Patrick, Faslaps, Faslaps. You can go out there and find their website if you just do a Google search for Faslaps, no T. And then I'm using that, and I'm using Race Coordinator, combination of both of those programs, depending on what we're doing. And then this is all analog racing. And then I used an IR beam brake sensor. And if I launch, hang on, I will post the link to those sensors. Give me just a second. Posting the link to those sensors if somebody's interested. Maybe. If my internet wasn't, or my browser wasn't being slow. All right. Question from Joe. What do you think about the new MR slot cars being produced? The Lotus specifically. Will it make it to your collection? Anybody? Joe, yes. Yes, it will. That's a pretty simple way to answer that question. I really want to test one of the aluminum chassis coming from MR Slot Car, and that Lotus is going to come with that chassis, I believe. Probably either the Lotus or the Ferrari or the Corvette or all three. I think that that's going to be a really popular car. I think a lot of people are really curious about the new chassis. Mainly, I think people like the fact that it's possibly something else to run against the Revo slots, because potentially they could perform similarly because of the weight. Let's see here. Let me find the email that was in, Patrick. There we go. Ooh. Man, this is not. Might be easier to go this way. Patrick actually sent me the link. Sorry, guys. I'm looking for the link. Here we go. Copy link. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Dang it. I think I can do it this way. Nope. Copy. Paste. Nope. It will not let me do that. Oh, well. Okay, moving on. So, yes, that is probably what's going to happen. Oh, lag. That's the problem. I gotta quit that program so that I don't lag. Good night. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it, Hobbit. Circuit Society, Buzzkill. I'm a car geek, racing nerd my whole life, but just got into slots. I like digital, no magnet right now, as it's more like replicating real racing and handling to scale. Yeah, Circuit, it's fun. I mean, pit stops are just a blast, and it's something else that you have to think about in your overall strategy. Analog racing is about just you. It's you against the clock. You've got a timer that's 3 minutes, and you need to get as many laps as you possibly can. You know, a digital race, we race like 14 minutes, and you've got 4 or 5 pit stops in that 14 minutes. You've got fuel strategy. So I think it's one of those things that really can draw people in, and then as they grow their collection, then they kind of move over to analog because they want to be able to run those analog cars without having to spend a bunch of money on chips. Steve, I have not looked at the DeFalco 306. I will have to go check that out. Pat, welcome, Pat. Good to have you, brother. Thanks. Doug says that Ian Douglas was using the new 306 from DeFalco or the new the Apex. That's a good question. Oh, Doug, the True Speed. Got it. All I had to do was look down. Thanks, Doug. Digital voltage readout on the controller, direct power by the pass. Oh, okay. Got it. John Albright, if you like your displays, check out the Synapse. Comes with LED screen, unbelievable data with memory for each car. John Albright, I have to admit something to you. I tried to buy one of those, and they were out of stock, but I've watched, there's a couple of review videos out there. I really dig that controller. It looks fantastic. But you're right, it is really expensive. Side note, I have no club. My track and cars are for me and friends. Exist for me, kind of like a drivable car museum. I eventually want to tune all my cars relative to each other. Yeah, Circuit, that's great. I mean, that's how we started. We were just racing in my basement, having fun. And about a year in, we decided to drive down to Cincy to watch them race. We weren't even planning on racing, and that was the mistake. We fell in love with the club, and so we drive down to Cincinnati a couple times a month during the winter just to race. Yeah, thanks, Patrick. I forgot to mention that. Cool. Thanks, Patrick. Check it out. If you look at Patrick's his little icon, that's the logo for Faslaps. Patrick is the developer and the owner of Faslaps. So DJ Patrick, Patrick is your guy. I got a Ninko Lotus last weekend, and it's so teensy. Collection has a Carrera digital setup. I do too. Yes, I will absolutely get that Lotus, Bob. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Yes, Chris Freder. Yes, all three. Smart Race works great with Carrera Digital. Yes, it does. Especially if you got like an old iPad laying around, it's great. Yeah, Greg. If you're already using TrackMate, Patrick has you can sign up on his website, and he can add you to the list when it becomes available. So yeah, you can actually use the TrackMate software or TrackMate hardware with his. I use Smart Race and love it. I'm hoping Faslaps is going to convert me. Yeah, so Circuit, the one thing about Faslaps is it uses the USB cable. It doesn't connect via Bluetooth. I think that's quite a bit of programming for Patrick to make that Bluetooth work. So, but if you have to get the I forget what it is, a DMS USB cable. Basically, it's S-Video on one side that connects right into the CU, and then it's a USB dongle. And then that's how you can connect to Faslaps digitally. Dusty, I'm looking for the sensor, the link to the sensors. Every time I launch something else on my computer, it's dragging me down. So I'll post it out there in the description. Oh wow, it's 9:40. We've just been rambling. That's right. Do not overshoot the pits it will cost you. You lose the race, Steve. That's what happens. Scott, my brother, how you been, man? We're gonna get to race soon. Gene, he's also using Smart Race for his digital racing. Yep, it's good. I've been around slot cars off and on through the years. I'm just debating on if I should spend time building out digital or analog. May just use what you have. Yeah, I mean, I think that the easy thing is to use what you have. DNA were talking earlier. He has the 4-lane polycar starter set, and I've wanted that for a while. And he's thinking about selling it, and I just don't have a place to put it. But I've always wanted to test the polycar because of the grip. And but as at this point, I'm filling in my basement with slot car tracks. I'm sure I'll get there eventually, Marty. I met Bob and Dan last weekend at Clearview Hobby in Elyria, and we'll be going to the Cleveland show. I can't see the bottom of the rabbit hole. See, my issue is I lead worship at church on Sundays, so getting to the Cleveland slot car show, it's always on a Sunday, and by the time I would leave and get up there, it's almost over, and I would miss out on all the good deals. But I would like to figure that out. I need to look and see when the next one is, and maybe I can rearrange my schedule and drive up. One, it would just be great to meet you guys if you're going to be there. Same for me. Circuit just hooked up with another guy locally who has guys over twice a week. My track, our career, digital and analog setups, mainly friends and family. Yeah, and that's really all it needs to be, guys. But if you can find the right club and you got something close, it can be fun, because what happens is now we get invited to everybody's, a lot of those guys have home tracks. And so all of a sudden we're now racing on 3 or 4 different other tracks. That's how we met Steve and race on Steve's Brown Bison, which is one of the nicest career tracks you will ever see. And if we wouldn't have gone to Cincy, we would have never met him. We get a chance to race at Bernie's, even though I haven't made it. My apologies, Bernie. Our buddy Daryl is getting ready to build a track at his place. Bruce, the owner of Cincy Slots, has a big 4-lane in his basement at home, and we got invited last year to his home race that he does once a year. That was really cool. That's what happens when you get a chance to meet other guys. So yeah, that's the fun part. Good night, Gerber. Thanks for coming. Let's see, 9:40, and I'm still at work. Thanks for making cleanup better. Hey, no problem, Chris. I've got to get my track finished. I've got some practicing to do. The season will be here before we know it. I know, man. I know. We got to get ready for it. I will eventually, but an instructional page on my website for building the Arduino interface with a list of parts to buy. I also have cool 3D printed gantry that I may provide as well. Very cool. Buzzkill, are these the IR sensors? Dusty, can I text you this link and you post it? That might be the easiest thing. Paste. Dusty, can you post that? I just texted it to you. Dusty's going to post it, Buzzkill, my brother. 9:45, guys. It's probably about 15 minutes too long of me yapping at you, but this has been fun. Again, I apologize for last night. I do have some videos that'll be coming out. Tom, I do not, but Dahi is thinking about selling his, and it's the big 4-lane, and I've thought about buying it, but yep. There you go. There's the link. And I was thinking about buying it, but I really don't have a place to put it. So he'll probably be putting that up for sale if I don't give him an answer tonight, sometime soon. So if somebody's in the market for a 4-lane polycar, that would be the set to get. Anthony, does anybody know where Marty got his Lotus at and what brand it is? I don't have a Lotus, but we were talking about buying the Lotus from MR Slot Car. So when it releases. So that's the Lotus we were talking about, Anthony. I do have a Lotus body that I'm going to scratch build that Lindsay sent me. And that's one of my projects. So yeah, it's the bigger set. So I know it's getting hard to find that one, but he didn't see what I asked. That's why I was asking you guys. Gotcha. Yep, MR Slot Car. Yep, no problem. So guys, I'm going to wrap things up. Great stuff tonight. It was good to be back with you guys, hanging out, chatting about slot cars. It's a lot of fun. I don't know that we ever accomplished much on a Tuesday, and I don't think we accomplished any more on a Wednesday, but we'll be back to Tuesday next week, back in the same rhythm. I don't like to move it around a lot because I know that messes with everybody's schedule. Again, if I stepped on anybody's toes, I apologize. I didn't even think about looking to make sure that I was not going live at the same time that Pete or Joe or any of you guys were live. And if I did, I'm really, really sorry. And now the first thing I'll do is I'll go out and look to see if somebody else was live at the same time. Sorry. But thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And like I always say, go have fun racing.